Alright, let's hear a quick video of the Banggood Amazon crawler, metal crawler. Got the Hilux or Toyota body. Arm, all metal, like I said. With the Castle Creations brushless motor. Played with some of the settings with the Castle Link, 10% drag brake. Everything's metal. Carbon fiber. I believe it's real carbon fiber. It doesn't feel like plastic to me. Metal axles, drag links. Everything's metal. The only thing that's cheesy is these drive shafts. There's just a lot of play in there. But I would recommend Loctiting everything on here, and all the bolts are like the nuts are non-standard sizes. So I would switch them over to, like, just get a Traxxas TRX4 stainless kit, and because you tend, when you tighten them, they just want to strip out. They don't really tend to want to get tight. They got nice metal body posts, and they're also threaded on top. But I had most of the parts already. I had a ton of Traxxas batteries, comes with the tires. Had the light kit, mounted the switch right here. They look very blue in the video, but they're not that blue. They're pretty bright. This $20 digital servo. Haven't been able to tune it in yet because it's got, I think the TQI is screwing it up. I can't get the endpoint set right. So right now, I have to have the TQI all the way up. It absolutely flies. When the multifunction knob is set to the middle, it's much slower. And if you give it any kind of throttle and then try to turn, while driving and trying to steer, it has no power. So you turn it up, the steering is super snappy. But I don't know if I have to reset the endpoints because you start to hit the shocks. And we'll set in the endpoints. It's weird, it just jerks around. I don't know if it's because it's a digital servo. And I used the receiver out of a Fortec 2.0, which has the stability and all that crap, and it's probably not necessary on here. So if I turn the multifunction knob all the way down, you have absolutely no steering. So that's something I have to figure out. So the sweet spot is like slightly past halfway. You get pretty snappy steering. I believe the servo came with that 25-tooth steering arm. I put opened up the differential and put in, I think it was 100-weight synthetic grease. Took out pretty much every screw and added blue Loctite to it. Because after the first run, all the grub screws that hold the drive shaft on were backing out. You could see that one that's sticking out really long. I had to dig in my toolbox and find an extra because we lost one after just the first run. But otherwise, I think it's definitely worth. If you get it from Banggood, it's $240. I believe it's $314 on Amazon. If you're willing to wait, I would just get it from Banggood. The servo is a $20 servo. I think I just really have to change that receiver and get rid of that stability management. It's really not needed on a crawler at all. I mean, neither is a brushless motor, but I just wanted to have the tuning capabilities of it. It's got these little, I guess they're simulated reservoir shocks, pull. Lowers. What I did was I soldered the servo wires directly to the ESC wire, so they're under here. So I thought maybe it would give it more power. I didn't think the receiver was giving it enough power, but it turns out that I think just this TQI Stability management is what's screwing it up. But little things to iron out. Like I said, I had this little LED light kit that fit in the bumper just perfect. Well, body came out pretty good. Not perfect. My son, my 9-year-old, helped me paint it. It's gonna get bashed up anyway, so who cares? But if you guys wanted to, I just wanted to give you a quick view of it. It is a little noisy. I would assume that's because it's all metal gears. It's no way near as quiet as a TRX4. But even the receiver box is all metal. I haven't found anything plastic on it yet. Like I said, everything on it's metal. Case is metal. This is metal. Transfer case is metal. Comes with the front bumper. The rear bumper was off a TRX4 project. It's a little wobbly. It's only got the like the grub screws. I might use nut and bolts and just tighten that up a little bit. But again, it's a bumper. They take a beating. You go over stuff and they slam down on everything. Gets scratched up anyway, so who cares? Came with the battery straps. Came with really nice beadlock tires. I didn't put the come with little center caps even. I didn't put the center caps on. Mikey was supposed to do that, but he said he didn't want to do it, and Diesel didn't want to do it either. Right? Nobody wanted to do that part. All right, so that's the overview of it. I think I did a pretty neat wiring job. Just routed the wires along the frame rail. Like I said, I really go over everything with your blue Loctite because they will all loosen up. And I would recommend eventually just changing them all. They're all just like, here's your standard Traxxas set. It's just, some things fit perfect, like the small one for the motor, the pinion, that fits perfectly tight. But the main one, I forgot what size it is, that's on most of your Traxxas cars. It fits a little bit loose on everything, and if you try to snug it, you'll just strip it. These are stainless screws, and they're soft. They're not high quality stainless, but they will not stick to anything magnetic, so they did try to go the extra step and make everything a little more durable. So like I said, I just have to really work. Every time I try to set the ed points, using the menus and everything, watching the Traxxas videos, it kind of goes berserk. Okay, Mikey, give it a little gas. Try to use the steering and see what it does. And give it gas and steer and see. Is it hitting the shocks? Yeah, you can see it spinning the shocks. So I gotta really just play with that. Don't do it now, it'll fly on the table. It's pretty fast. I have them brake set on 10, power at 100, but I set the torque curve for the motor kind of like this instead of that straight line, so it doesn't take off like a bat out of hell. It's a little more controllable. All right, I'm gonna post this in the running videos of our little ramp, and that's all. If you have any questions, post below. Like and subscribe. Thank you. This is the crawler we just built. Chinese crawler, carbon fiber, Castle Creations. Still tuning it. I gotta get more power to the steering. It's got a Traxxas receiver, so I gotta run a separate battery to it, or DEC or some form more power. It's got a 20 gram something steering, all metal steering, servo, Amazon servo. Just doesn't have enough power to turn the wheels. 10% drag brake set. Still got plenty of power. Got the torque curve turned down pretty low. Still fine tuning it. I'm just getting something that I could, instead of taking the cover off. It's a really nice crawler, carbon fiber, rails. Even the screws are stainless steel because none of my magnetic tools would stick to them very well, and if it is stainless, it's poor quality stainless. But it seemed to work very well. I'm running the 2S LiPo, plenty of power. I wouldn't even touch 3S. drive shafts on it seem to be a little bit of a weak point. I would highly recommend blue Loctiting every single bolt that's on this, because a couple of the drive shaft grub screws came right out the first run. But it comes with the nice beadlock tires. I got a Toyota, like a Hilux body, and we had the Traxxas remote already. Had the light kit already. Comes with you're always in a locker, which I think is part of the trouble of having it steer, because it's always locked. But the servo just doesn't want it. It turns fine in reverse. It has no problem steering, but when you're going forward, it just does not want to turn. And I know the servo has it, because when I was sending the endpoints with the Traxxas TQI, it was like flying. Like, it had no problem. And then once I had the endpoints all set, so I got this nice little light kit. Came with another bumper. Doesn't look right now, but they actually fit right in there. We did a metallic blue paint job. My son painted it. It's not perfect, but who cares? It's a crawler. It's gonna get rolled. The back bumper was off another project. I took the back bumper had this what do you call it, thing on the front. We took that off, and I just left the tow hooks on it. But it's also a metal bumper, so it's really 100% metal crawler. There's really no plastic on that thing at all. Everything is carbon fiber and metal, which is pretty cool. The only thing I said, like I think I said I would change, is the drive shafts, but it's very fun. I would say it's more capable than the TRX4. Just because you got all that weight down low, everybody's adding weight with the portal axles and everything. You might not have the clearance that the TRX has because of the portal axles, but you got all that down low weight. Got a little body trimming to do up front, but other than that, that's it. And with the Castle Creations, you can really tune it to the way you want it, so you can apply more drag brake. I have the steering, the reverse set at 30, so when you hit reverse, it's not like super powerful. It's nice and smooth, the reverse. Just have to figure out, like, going downhill, maybe I want to apply 20% drag brake instead of 10, because it's not a speed truck. It's definitely a crawler. So as you see, it went down a little fast. There is no high and low gear, but all the metal. The only thing that's plastic is the big gear, not the gear attached to the motor, but I think it's the spur gear. That was the only thing that was plastic on the whole thing. And the drive shafts are there's a little bit of play in the slip joints and everything, but it looks like they're replaceable. Just to figure out what size and everything, but I don't think they're going to break anytime soon, being that they're all metal. And it got my son back out of the house again. And I think it's a nice alternative to TRX4. It's mostly ready to race. Just add your own electronics and do your own body and run whatever motor you want. You could run brushed or brushless. I just went with a brushed motor because I like the programming capabilities of it and being able to set it however you want. We haven't made a YouTube video in a while, so I figured we'd make one. I got clips on the front because the body posts did not have enough. They didn't come through. It's quite a bit. It's Proline body, and it's very thick, so they just didn't want the post mounts are even metal. The body posts, they're metal, so they just didn't have enough clearance to come through, so I just used screws, a little baby washer, and then some Traxxas body washers on the front. And you could just undo the clips in the battery. You could undo the rear clips, they fit no problem. And lift it up and just change the battery out. Battery comes with the battery straps. It really comes complete. It comes with the gear that goes on the motor. I believe that is the spur gear, and the big one is the pinion gear. I always forget. Not sure how many tooth it was. got plenty of grip. Like I said, it's so heavy on the bottom. It really does steeper angles than the TRX4 due to all that weight. I mean, I haven't weighed it yet, but I would say it's at least 4 or 5 pounds. And I forgot which Castle Creations I'm running. I think it's the Sidewinder 3, I want to say. 1400 something by something. I'll post it in the details below in the video of what I use. We're running a 2S HRB battery, which I recommend at $27, and they've never swelled. They're 2 years old. Soldered on a Traxxas plug because I have 2 Traxxas chargers, a dual and a single, and I don't mind the Traxxas plug. So I'm going to try to actually run that front servo off the balance plug. I read you can do that online. So I just got balance plug extensions. So I'm going to leave the censored wire on the receiver and power it from the balance plug. There's like many ways you can do it. So I'm going to try that way. But it's pretty cool. Not the best steering right now. It's very slow to steer. Reverse has no problem. Much greater radius. Comes with a metal, what do you call that? The drop arm. Hold on. Let me get a close up of some of the stuff on here, Mikey. So it comes. I think this. I forgot if the. Hold on. I got not enough hands here. The 25 tooth, I forgot if they came with this servo, and it's a digital servo. I don't know if these are true reservoir shocks, Castle Creation, censored motor, the little bell housing, that's all, it's all metal or aluminum or stainless. The battery's kind of cool because it matches the carbon fiber. I didn't plan that. You got, like I said, the little reservoir shocks, the fully adjustable coilovers, plenty of suspension travel. What else? Cool covers. There was grease in the gears. Like I said, I Loctited everything. These little screws to the left and right of that red cover, and especially let me see if I can zoom in on those screws there that attach the drive shaft. One is a little longer because I lost that one. So when I rotate this around, you'll see one is much shorter. I had, luckily I had one in my toolkit, but one fell out and the rest were all tremendously loose. Pretty cool though. Go ahead, Mikey. Yeah, the sun's up in the tree. But we're back in the hobby again. We got an X-Max. We sold the Slash. We sold the Stampede. We kept the 2 TRX4s. We kept the Fortec 2.0 speed car, even though I robbed the receiver out of it for this. It's a nice car. It'll do 70 miles an hour with the Castle Creations in it, but it's very hard to control without crashing it. I like going a little bit slower. How am I going to drive and record? Buddy.
I'll record.
I'm going to record?
Yeah.
I'm going to drive?
Yeah.
Okay, keep your fingers out of the lens, buddy. And don't get my ugly mug in there.
What?
So don't put my ugly mug on YouTube. Nobody wants to see my face. So we got a little bit of wheel spin. So I just... Oh, that's this piece of wood. I cooked turkey on it. So it's got a lot of turkey grease on it. Makes it a little bit of a challenge. So that's full turn. You can see it doesn't really want to turn on the grass. When you put it in reverse, it's got better turning. So forward, for whatever reason, I'll turn it, and then when I hit the gas, the wheels shift. All right, take 2. He stopped recording. So it does pretty good, even if they say, you know, brushless motors are better for quality, but it's a little, maybe it's a little fast for a, but I haven't played with all the settings yet on the Castle Creation Castle Link. And right now that's the tightest radius I can make. So you put it in reverse, then it turns all the way. So I don't know why it does this. I think it's a lack of power to this servo. It's just turning, and then it seems to speed up until you hit the gas. Then try to turn it, and it's like, and then it like loses power. It's very strange. So now it's going fast, so you hit a little bit of gas, and then it wants to go slow again. So I think it's just a power problem. But that's the only bug we've really had with this project. Even so, moves along. I don't even want to try to run 3S in it. I don't think there's a need for it. I run 3S in the TRX4s. I don't see a need for it in here with the brushless motor in there. I don't want to blow up the drive shafts on this thing. That's 10% drag brake. It doesn't go down as slow as the TRX4. I wouldn't say it's as controllable, but I haven't really played with too much of the settings. I don't know if I said it before, but I just ordered the Y adapter, so I don't have to take off the cover that controls the receiver to put on the Castle Link to make quick adjustments over time. So that thing moves along. I didn't adjust the shock kit. They just thought they came there sounding a little stiff. I can soften them up a little bit. It moves along pretty good. The battery should last a long time with the brushless motor. That's the greasy one. That's the greasy piece of plywood that I put the turkey on. But these tires are awesome, I gotta say. They're nice and soft. I didn't put the, they come with little, let me move this piece of plywood, but I don't lean on this. They come with little wheel caps, so you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 covers, screw holes. So it comes with these little plastic wheel caps. But the tires are really nice and soft and grippy. So I don't even see a need to change them. And it looks like they're beadlocks because I can't break that. So I think they're true beadlocks. They came pre-assembled. Like I said, they got these reservoir looking shocks. I don't know if this is just for show or what. It looks like real carbon fiber body. It doesn't feel like plastic to me. This bumper we had, this fit a TRX4. Doesn't fit the front of this, but the back is a little narrow, so for the back I just I should have left it black. I thought I had a closer color. It's pretty cool for what you get. I mean, I like everything's just metal on it. It just seems like it's made to last. $240 at Banggood. It took a month to get here. Spare parts, I don't know where to get them from. If anybody knows where I can get spare parts, I saw Kevin Talbot bought one. He made one video about it, and then he didn't really go into too much detail. My options, just to buy the second one, just for spare parts, or just try to kind of source your own. But it moves along good when you want it to. I kind of set the torque curve to like a nice U shape instead of the straight in the Castle Creation, so it doesn't take off super fast. You have a little more control, so it's not pulling wheelies and stuff. It's controllable, 30% reverse power. And I think if I soften up the shocks, it won't be as bouncy. And as soon as I get more power to that steering, steering is just really slow right now. And I can hear it rubbing on the body, but I know it's just rubbing on the front. The steering's great in reverse, but forward with those lockers, you see the locker? dragging a big old stick. See if I can shake it loose. I don't think I can. I see it wedged in there pretty good. Let me shake that out. Come on out, big stick. Any more in there?
Try going up the slide.
Oh yeah, this is another thing that the TRX4 could not do. We'll see if we can do it with the wet wheels, and the stability management is still in there, which you don't really need on here. We'll see if we can get it up. We could not get a TRX4 to do this under any circumstances. Would not do that, no matter how. And then the wheels were actually wet today. We could not get a TRX4 to do that any day of the week. Dry conditions or whatnot, it does it no problem. I've seen people set try it, break it, fix it. He did a little scale thing with 45 degrees, 47 degrees. I think he got to. He crawled the TRX4 up. I don't know what this is. I would say this is about 45. But the TRX4 could not do this. This is like a polycarbonate. It would just slip. It would get to about here, the TRX4s, even with the lockers engaged, low, low or high gear. This seems to have almost no problem. Especially with the speed. You know, the speed up. Let's go too soon. We'll see from the bottom. Hey, what's going on?
Here, let me try.
It's all about that speed. I think it's the brushless speed. I think it just gives it, it's got a little more punch than the brushed motor. And sometimes you just need that speed. Sometimes you don't need the speed. Sometimes you need the speed. And when you got it, you got it. And I love the way the light kits fit right in there. Little hot glue on these to hold them in. The screw holes are already there for this light kit. It's not the brightest light kit in the world, but it does work for all intents and purposes. It's not super bright at night. Could always add another one on the roof. But it's cool. Like I said, we did okay on the paint job and everything, the decals and everything. It's fun. For $240 plus, I spent $100 on the Castle Creations motor. I didn't spend anything on the transmitter. It was actually a warranty replacement, which I thought that the transmitter was bad on, and so did Traxxas on the X-Max, so they sent me a new controller. Won't make it up though. We'll make it I'm hitting the 4-link on that, not even anything else. That's about a good 7 or 8 inches there. But no problem. Like I said, we tried that so many times with the TRX4 and we never made it. As soon as I get that steering, see how slow it is? And then it starts to speed up, as it's almost as if the receiver is getting more power. I don't know how that works. The receiver is fed by, I guess, essentially the ESC. So those two tiny little wires feed it. So I think once I get, I don't know how much power the balance port puts out. I'm going to get power from the balance port, or just take power from one of the battery leads.
Dad, can I drive?
You can drive, yeah, Bubba.
Switch.
So that's the only problem we have right now is steering. But I think this thing came out pretty cool. We've only bought in the past completely 100% ready to run cars. So this is the only one we've actually we didn't build it from scratch, obviously, because the chassis was assembled. Everything was assembled but the wheel. You know, the wheels weren't on it. So we put in, you know, I did all the electronics, painted the body, decals, fine tuning, the bumper mounts were hitting on the servo arm, so I had to trim them down. Other than that, there was no major problems. Everything went very smooth on it. Wasn't a ton of wiring. The battery box, the receiver box is very large that they give you. However, it is not waterproof. You could make it waterproof if you want. Also, the axles are not waterproof, but then again, with a little RTV sealant, you could make them waterproof. But I don't think anything's actually waterproof. You could make them more water resistant. I'm not a big fan of dunking any of my RC cars in puddles. I've done it to the TRX4s, and it's just the mud destroys the brushed motors. You could come home and hose them out and spray them with WD-40, but it's not my thing. It just kills them. Yeah, the motors are cheap, the brush motors are cheap, but coming home and just cleaning that amount of mud off just to go through a puddle, I don't know, not my thing. I like the dirt and everything, but mud and deep water is not my thing. Sounded like a rollover. It's alright, that body ain't perfect. My son Mikey painted it. It was his first paint job. I had to show him how to hold the can and everything. Not too close, not too far away. I had one can of metallic blue, and we had like yellow and a couple whites. So I gave it a coat of the metallic. He painted it with the metallic blue, and then I like a lot of the Traxxas bodies. I gave it a protective coating of white underneath the on top of the blue to protect it a little bit when you're putting on the body, so the mounts don't rub through the metallic blue. But I didn't go crazy with the stickers. I got a ton of Proline stickers. I don't know. I put the little door handle stickers on it, the tail lights. I like maybe a light bar. It's really not that bright at night. The LED lights are in there. They're kind of more bluish than whitish. But should be fun in the winter, I think, with the full-time lockers in there. And like I said, these were not long enough to run the clips through, so I just did some screws I had, some washers, and to change the battery, just lift these off, take these out, lift the body up enough, slide the battery out. You don't even have to take those out. And this bumper came with it. But a fun car for 240 bucks if you're looking to build something. And you could even, if you have an old, was it the XL5 from any Traxxas and a brushed motor, a 12-turn motor, you could throw that in here easy, and you don't have to spend $100 on the motor. You could build this car for probably $300 and have a pretty nice car if you have the receiver already. You know, it's nice when you have a lot of the parts and you've been in the hobby for a while and you have the batteries and you have the charger. I personally find building it more fun than getting something out of the box that's ready to run. I mean, I built them as a kid. I built a Blackfoot and all that stuff. But other than that, I've been buying the ready to race, ready to run stuff from Traxxas. And this is the first thing I built since I was a kid. I spent probably, maybe I would say 12 hours into this project. And it's fun. And it shows no signs of breaking. You open up the gearbox and everything. I put some, I think it's a 100 weight silicone with synthetic oil in there. It had some blue looking grease in. I cleaned off and put a little bit, you know, just a tiny little bead around the whole pinion gear. Or no, it's not a pinion gear. What's in the drive shaft? I'm out of words. But sorry if this video drags on. You could fast forward. It's just basically what you can get from China. They sell this on Amazon too. It's $325 for the same exact one on Amazon, and it's $240 on Banggood. But it will take a month to get to you. So I'd recommend just using the Banggood and waiting a month. It did come with a slightly bent axle. I contacted Banggood 3 times. They said they were going to give me a $20 credit. I asked them if I could buy a new axle. They really were not responsive at all. They said they were going to give me a $20 credit, and I said fine. They never sent me the credit. I was actually able to take a pair of channel lock pliers, and just straightened out. So it actually came out perfectly straight, so I'm not worried about it. But Banggood customer service is absolutely terrible. They suck. They're like non-existent. They do not care about the sale once it's done. Alright, that's it for this. We'll upload another video after I get the steering fixed.